Ah, gather round, children of YouTube and short attention spans. Let me tell you the tale of how magic came to be, back in the time before time had a wristwatch, a time when humans still thought thunder was just the gods bowling upstairs, and not Zeus being petty again. It all began around a fire. No, not this fire, the first fire. Back when Ugg the Hairy accidentally rubbed two dry squirrels together and whoosh, discovered heat, light, and the concept of regret. Now listen carefully. In those ancient echoing days, people didn't understand how the world worked. The stars, holes poked in the sky so the gods could spy on us while bathing. The moon, a giant glowing cheese wheel. The sun, a flaming chariot dragged across the sky by a horse with very poor union representation. But humans, clever little apes we are, wanted answers. So when something weird happened, a cow gave birth to twins. Magic. Your crops failed and your neighbors didn't. Witchcraft. You sneezed and no one said bless you. Possession. Burn them. Thus began the great guessing game of life, also known as early human spirituality. But here's the secret, whispered only in the wind and scrolls of goatskin. Magic wasn't about power at first. It was about understanding. You see, humans thought, if I don't know why something happens, maybe someone does. Maybe there are forces, spirits, deities, or Bob the invisible goat who makes it rain when he's sad. And what do humans do when they're confused? That's right, make rules. Rules like, don't walk under the full moon with your sandals on backwards. Never whistle near a graveyard. Ghosts hate jazz. If your chicken walks backward, it's an omen. Of what? No one knows. But it's bad. And then came the shamans. Ah yes, the world's first therapists, priests, pharmacists, and interpretive dancers all rolled into one mud-covered, mushroom-chewing prophet. They'd chant, paint symbols, and throw bones, not because they knew what they were doing, but because it looked impressive. And if the village goat stopped screaming during the ceremony, boom, magic confirmed. Now this is just the beginning, my wide-eyed viewers. The tale of magic grows deeper, with Egyptian sorcerers, Babylonian star readers, Greek philosophers who accidentally reinvented astrology while trying to invent socks. Long before TikTok and taxes, there stood the land of Mesopotamia between the rivers Tigris and Euphrates. These were the first folks to say, hey, maybe we should write stuff down. And boy did they. They wrote about everything. Gods, kings, floods, beer recipes, and of course, magic spells. Yes, the Sumerians, Akkadians, and Babylonians believed that the universe was like a giant divine bureaucracy. If something went wrong, sickness, failed crops, your cousin getting possessed and speaking in frogs, it meant someone, somewhere, didn't file the correct ritual paperwork with the gods. So who handled these divine complaints? Enter the Ashipu, Mesopotamian sorcerer priests, also known as the exorcists with style. They didn't just mutter nonsense and shake bones. No, these were educated men who could read cuneiform, recite entire libraries of spells, and probably had the world's first magical business cards. Need to cure a headache? Boom, spell written on a clay tablet, rubbed with oil and chanted into your skull. Possessed by a demon because you insulted a sacred turnip. No problem, the Ashipu would perform a ritual, burn a goat hair, and tell the demon to kindly exit the premises. And get this, they had categorized demons, like an ancient Yelp for evil spirits. Lamashtu steals babies and drinks blood. Pazuzu, Lord of the Wind, kind of a jerk but occasionally helpful. Evil eye spirits, powered entirely by envy. So basically, howdy Instagram before filters. Now, Mesopotamians didn't see magic as unnatural. It was as real as rain. The The gods themselves were basically magicians, divine administrators, running the cosmos with curses, blessings, and very complicated celestial spreadsheets. But here's where it gets spicy. There were two kinds of magic. Asutu, healing magic, the good kind. Nice robes, good lighting. Kispushiptu, sorcery, dark stuff. You know? Cursing your neighbor's barley, summoning ghosts to deliver angry voicemails. The state loved the Asutu guys. The Shiptu crowd, not so much. If you got caught casting curses in the back alley behind the ziggurat, you'd end up getting a visit from someone with a club and a poor sense of humor. Kemet, what the Egyptians called their land. Black soil, golden sun, and a river that flooded like clockwork most of the time. In Egypt, magic wasn't some weird fringe belief. It was a core part of life, death, and taxes. They called it Heka, the divine force that powered creation itself. Imagine magic not as something you did, but as a living energy. The gods used it, the pharaohs wielded it, and even farmers kept tiny amulets soaked in Heka to keep their crops alive and their goats non-exploding. Want to build a pyramid? Better perform a ritual to align the stones with the stars. Want to mummify grandma? You'll need over 200 spells from the Book of the Dead, a decent embalmer, and nerves of steel when the heart-weighing ceremony begins. Spoiler, if your soul weighs more than a feather, it's crocodile snack time. Magicians in Egypt weren't just seen as wise, they were semi-divine civil servants. Some were priests, others were healers, and a few were scribes who knew too much. One such figure was Imhotep Real Guy, high priest, physician, and later full-blown god. Basically the Einstein of ancient Egypt and the Steve Jobs of healing potions. Egyptians even had magical wands, real ones, made from hippo tusks, decorated with lions, snakes, and protective deities, used to draw sacred circles and protect royal babies from evil dreams or, overly ambitious uncles. But beware, not all spells were kind. There were revenge scrolls, fold one up, stick it in a tomb, and let the afterlife handle your enemies. The ancient version of, I hope you step on a Lego forever. The storyteller smiles mysteriously. His beard now glows faintly with static. And so, dear listeners, we see how magic evolved, not from darkness, but from curiosity, a way to explain the unexplained, to survive, to protect, to control, or sometimes just to blame something else when things went wrong. But this tale is far from over. Next, we travel to the mystery schools of Greece, where philosophers tried to outthink the gods and ended up inventing horoscopes. And so, my wide-eyed wanderers, we've walked the dusty roads of forgotten empires. From the mud-brick temples of Mesopotamia, where demons had names longer than river snakes, to the golden sands of Egypt, where magic was as common as sandals and twice as powerful. We've seen how magic wasn't just spells and symbols, it was hope with a headdress. A desperate whisper to the stars. A way to fight back against sickness, misfortune, and weird neighbor curses. But here's the twist, magic never died. No, it just changed its clothes. Once carried in scrolls, now it lives in superstitions, horoscopes, lucky charms, and the way you still knock on wood even though the science is sketchy. We live in a world of satellites and smartphones. But tell me honestly, if your lights flickered at 3:33 a.m. after watching a horror movie, you're telling me you wouldn't whisper, "Nope, not today, demon," and grab your grandma's crucifix from the drawer? Thought so. Because deep down, we're still those same ancient humans, worried, wondering, watching the stars, looking for meaning in the madness. And that, my friends, is the real magic. Not in the potions, or scrolls, or goat sacrifices. Seriously, stop sacrificing goats. But in our eternal need to believe that the universe might just be listening. The storyteller stands, his silhouette framed by fire and night. He picks up his staff half stick, half question mark, and turns. So until we meet again, light your fires, guard your dreams, and if a strange old man offers you a mysterious glowing amulet, maybe, just maybe, say yes, because you never know when the story is about to begin again.